Hello everyone, it's Brandy Cox here with BrandysCards.com. So it is another Masculine Monday, and today's card is more for that beachy type dad. The dad that likes to kind of maybe go to the beach and likes the scenery of the beach. I'm going to be using the Oceanfront Stamp Set, so I'm going to be using this one. And I'm also going to be using the Heron Habitat. And we're going to make this fun card too. So I have two cards for you today, and and I think that you could. I hope that I inspire you. If you have a gentleman in your life that likes this type of, likes to be at the beach, maybe likes some sporting events at the beach, or maybe likes just the calm peacefulness. So I've got some fun cards for you, and I can't hardly wait to show them to you. I've had so much fun creating these masculine cards, and these cards actually could work for just about anybody. But a lot of times I think we kind of think about flowers and yellow and pinks and that sort of thing. So I'm excited to kind of pull it back and make some clean and simple, elegant cards for you today. Not to mention, I'm going to use a couple new products, and I'm also going to show you what I sort of did with one of my little 1/8 inch scraps. That's right. So I'm going to show you how you can make a really cool decorative edge from scraps. Yeah. So let's get started. So first off, here is the card that I am going to show you first. And check out this super cool edge. Now, I made that edge with scraps. I sure did. And are you ready? Check out that. Oh, I can't hardly wait. I'm going to show you how I did that. So before I do, I'm going to show you the stamp set that we're going to use. We're going to use the Heron Habitat Stamp Set. So that is the stamp set that I'm trying to place the card so I can see it. So that's the stamp set that we're going to use. We're also going to use the Heron dies. So these are the coordinating dies with this stamp set. So we're going to use probably this one, and I think I am going to use this one today. So that's what we're going to use for our card that we're going to create today. Now, what exactly do you need? Well, you're going to need basic gray, and you're going to need some basic gray ink, and then you're also going to need some early espresso ink, and then you will need some vellum. You just need just a small piece of vellum, and I thought that the vellum really kind of gave this soft look behind the heron. So I'm excited to show you exactly how I did that here momentarily. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. I see nothing better than to just get our stamp on. I love crafting, and I'm so excited to have this time with you. So thank you for joining me today. And if you're new to my channel, welcome to Brandy's Cards. My hope is to inspire you to create and to send your cards and share your cards with others. I absolutely love stamping. I've been stamping for over 15 years. I know it's hard to believe, like, holy cow, where is the time gone? But it's been over 15 years. Craziness. Okay, so I just stamped my heron and my small little bird in basic gray, so I'm pretty much done with that. I'm going to go ahead, and while I'm kind of doing my stamping, I'm going to open up my early espresso, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Yep, my sentiment's going to go kind of right up there. Perfect. So that's all pretty easy peasy, right? Okay, so I'm going to set that aside. Next thing you're going to do is you are going to pull out your heron dies, and you're going to run that through your cut and emboss machine. And then when you do, you get these cool little guys just like that. Okay, and then what you're going to do is once you die cut those out, I'm actually going to cut out my sentiment. Now, in the last video, I showed you how I like to kind of do the blocking. In this scenario, I am just going to decoratively, meaning kind of in and out and weave around, cut out my sentiment here as well. It's not such a straight edge. It's kind of more of a, just kind of more of a fun, decorative type cutout for my sentiment. So thankful for you. And I'm just kind of moving my paper as my scissors kind of go. And so now I have my sentiment. So I'm going to put these little pieces aside for just a second. And then what I have to do is I have to grab my balmy blue ink. I think I forgot that. So I'm going to pull this over here. So we're going to start out with some balmy blue. Oh, these guys are so cute, aren't they? Okay, so I have a piece of basic white, and we're going to use the Oceanfront Stamp Set. We're going to use this big piece right here. These pieces make really fun backgrounds. So we're going to open up our balmy blue. Okay, and now we're going to bring in our pierce mat. And we have our pierce mat so that, because it is photopolymer, and I find that it does stamp better that way. You might even want a piece of scrap paper. And so I might just bring this piece in as some scrap, okay? So let's go ahead and ink up this piece here and this stamp. And so I am going to start right up here at the top. And I'm just going to stamp that straight down and straight up. Oh, so pretty. So, so pretty. And so I think I'm going to come down here and do the same thing. Just along like that. Now I'm going to ink this up and stamp it off. And then I'm going to come back in here. Now by doing that, it's going to create some light and dark shades. Now maybe you want this softer and lighter. Well, you could certainly, you could certainly do it again on the other side. So let's try that. Let's try and have the dark right here. And then we have it already stamped off, right? So we might as well just kind of bring it up. Yeah, I like that. So let's go ahead and stamp that off. And the cool thing is it kind of gives you that, like, as you stamp it off and stamp it on, you kind of get those lights and darks, don't you? Because it kind of adds to it. So yeah, so I think I like that best. And I almost think I like the dark. I don't know, I'm almost nervous to kind of go in here one more time, but I think I'm going to. There we go. Perfect. And then maybe one more time down here. So by stamping it off, I can kind of, add my own light and dark in here versus having too much. So that's what I really, really like about that. Now I am going to clean my stamp really quick because I am going to use it again for you here momentarily. Okay, so here we go. This is kind of a fun idea and I can't wait to show it to you. So what I did is I thought, you know what, I want to create kind of a fun decorative edge. And I want it to kind of look like a frame. So what I did, I'm going to pull my cutting board in. All right, so there's my cutting board. And so you're going to cut your cardstock and you're going to ideally want it to be the same size as this. All of the sizes and the dimensions are going to be on BrandysCards.com. So you just go to BrandysCards.com and when you're there, you can click on blog. And of course, you can search for this stamp set. That's right. I had somebody call me the other day and say, Brandy, I can't find anything. Well, just go to that little search area where it's got the magnifying glass and you just type in the stamp set name. So type in there Oceanfront Heron Habitat, or you can go to masculine cards. That's right. We have a drop down now in the tutorials that says masculine cards, and this card will be in there. All of the sizes and the dimensions will be there, along with a PDF that you can download for your idea book and inspiration. So really excited about that. So make sure that you go there and do that. Okay, so here's what I did. So do you remember if you saw card number, so if you saw my masculine card from the previous video, I showed you how we scored at 1/8 inch. We did that to be for that decorative edge. This time, I'm going to cut the cardstock. So here, let me show you. So we're going to go to 1/8 inch and I'm going to cut. So I'm going to get one, there's one, then I'm going to get two, and so you're going to need 4 altogether. And ideally, you would want to cut this piece ahead of time. I've actually already cut these pieces, but I just wanted to show you what I was doing and how I created these. Super easy, just find some basic white scrap and you are good to go. So that is it with our cutting board. All right, so I'm going to set these aside because these are not the right size. I did not cut them first. But these ones here, I certainly did. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my liquid adhesive and I am going to very carefully go up alongside the edge of my cardstock. Yep. And I might even just go ahead and do the other side too, just to kind of keep it easy. Just go right up the side. Now, you don't want to squeeze very hard. You don't want very much. Otherwise, it'll squish out the sides. That will just make you cranky. And that is not what we want to do. So I am just layering this 1/8 inch piece along the edge of my card, right? I'll flush along the edge of this scene. And then I have another piece right here, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. So this one's going to line up along this edge, and it's going to be flush just perfectly like that, okay? Then, now you could certainly measure this out and then cut another piece that kind of fits perfectly in here. I did not do that today, so I'm going to show you what I did do because I didn't cut it, you know, because it works too. You just gotta be careful, but it works. All right, so here is my little piece, and I am gonna put that flush up against this other one and kind of let that kind of get settled. And let's flip it around and do the same thing over here. So flush up against that piece, kind of push it down and across. Great, okay. So now I have my paper snips, and I'm just gonna kind of come in here and eye it. And you know, I have this edge against this other piece of this trim and this cardstock. So I'm just putting my scissors actually right up against that. So it's really easy. So check that out. Can you see that fun edge? Yeah, super cool and so much fun to do. All right, so we're gonna take it a step further. And you know what? On the inside of your card, this is actually the outside, but that's okay. We can make it the inside, right? So let's see here. So what I would do, actually, now that I think about it, let me look inside the card because I think it would be easier to go ahead and the inside cut another piece this exact size. So you would cut another piece this size and layer your strips along the edge and then adhere it inside your card. So that way you don't have to kind of be perfect with layering this piece inside here. So I hope that that makes sense. So you would just cut two of these, one you would stamp, one you wouldn't, and that would then go inside your card with your little bird. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip this over. Remember, I practiced on that side, so that's why, well, I didn't actually practice. It was actually, you know, it was my first attempt and I didn't love it. So there's two sides to every cardstock, every piece of cardstock. And I think I've mentioned before that I enjoy the basic white thick cardstock for that reason. You know, you can stamp on it and flip it over and it works quite well. You can't see it, you know, you can't see any mess ups. So that's nice. We're gonna flip that over and we are going to add that, center and adhere that to the front of our cardstock, our card front. Okay, so we're doing good. So now let's go ahead and add some of our other fun things here. So I have some vellum, but I think what I'm gonna do first is we're gonna flip over our heron and we are gonna add some Stampin' Dimensionals to this guy. And I can't remember if one fits there or not, so let's try it. Yep, it did. So I'm gonna add some dimensionals to my heron and I am going to sit him right here in the middle of my vellum. Now you could also glue him down if you would like. You can use some liquid adhesive and just glue him straight down. So that's entirely up to you. Now the nice thing here is I can add the dimensionals behind the vellum too. And so because you can't see, normally you'd be able to see, here let me show you, you'd be able to see that dot, right? But because, you know, he's kind of hiding it, it makes it quite nice. Before I do that, we've got some birds. Oh yeah, we've got some birds. I just happened to look at the other card and go, yikes, we got to stamp our bird. Ideally, our bird should have been stamped before we popped it up, but I didn't, so we're gonna go for it. You know, we're not scared, right? We can do this. So those birds are going down. So I do want to kind of orientate myself, with the direction that I'm going to stamp my birds. And I think that I'm going to do them right about in there. Perfect. All right. Whew, now I can breathe. Yowza. Okay, I don't recommend stamping after you've put dimensionals behind the cardstock, but it worked out, so I'm grateful for that. And so we're going to just add him right here. So that works out beautifully. And then as you remember, we kind of cut out these fun pieces. And so these are going to go with some liquid adhesive right to the top of my vellum. Now what you can do, because this piece is kind of a little flimsy, right? So what I would recommend potentially is doing a mini glue dot, right? So you could do a mini, not the mini glue dots, but one of the mini Stampin' Dimensionals, or you can just cut your edge of your big Stampin' Dimensionals and then use this strip here. So this is one of the adhesive foam dots. This is actually the edge, and I'm just going to kind of pop it underneath that sentiment. So it's kind of serving a purpose. It's holding the edge of this piece down, but it's also kind of given this some pop. And then I have the For You, and that one is going to go right there. And then of course, once I decorate the inside of my card to look like this, which is the same decorative edge, I am going to add my little bird. So that is so fun. Okay, so if you like my project today, please be sure to like and subscribe. That's right, give me a thumbs up. I would really, really appreciate that. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear if you like my little idea with the 1/8 inch edge. Of course, your edge can be as big as you would like it to be, right? So definitely give that a try. It's so fun. Now, are you ready for something even cooler? I'm not sure, is cooler a word? But I've got something even more fun that I'm excited to show you. So check this out. So what if you cut a bunch of these little strips, okay? So what if I cut a bunch of these little strips, and on my envelope, what if I just, so number one, I could take it right across like this, very gently. Or if you don't have a steady hand and you're like, oh my goodness, I could never do that. Well, maybe then you just go ahead and put it on the back of your little strip, right? So either one works, but if you keep this thin and you think spider web lines, not gloppy lines, but spider webby lines, then this works out just fine. And so what if you went all the way down your envelope, and if you're wondering, it takes about 6 1/8 inch edges to go all the way down, depending on how you space them out, of course. But there you go. So after you do that and you snip off those little edges, check out that envelope. And so that is so cool. It's got these fantastic ridges in it, and it coordinates beautifully with your card. Yeah, so much fun. Oh my goodness. So if I didn't blow your mind yet, I hope that you thought that was super cool. So fun. Sometimes it's just, those things that you just are tossed away in the trash. These little strips, who knew they could make such a big impact on basic white cardstock, right? So that is really fun, and I hope that you give that a try. So I'm going to set this aside because I have another card for you that I'm very excited to share. Now this one is also using the Oceanfront Stamp Set, and this one is a little bit, quite easy and quick. So here we go. I am going to use the deckled rectangles. If you haven't seen these demonstrated yet, they are absolutely fantastic. They kind of have a torn type feel to them. I just love them. I absolutely love the rugged edge. So on this card today, I actually used this large piece. So this is the large rectangle, and I die cut that ahead of time with my cut and emboss machine out of basic white cardstock. The other thing I'm going to use today is the Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder. Now this is not a new folder for us. but I love it because, again, it kind of gave me that beachy feel to it. It's kind of got that sandy, beachy feel. So I thought that was pretty cool today. So I also ran that through my cut and emboss machine. And to run this through, I used my big base plate, and then I used the specialty plate, and it worked perfectly. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull in our Pierce mats, and I am going to show you how I made this next card. So we're going to start out with saffron. Yep, we're going to start out with some saffron, and I'm going to ink that up. And I actually do want to stamp this off because I want a very soft, feel. And so I am going to stamp, let's see, let's try it right about there. Yeah, that works out good. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that down. And then what I have to do is I need to clean my stamp, and I need to grab some Pool Party. So we're going to use Pool Party as well. So we're going to we've got kind of the horizon or the sky, and now we're going to stamp that off. Boy, that definitely kind of gets me like, yikes. And I am going to stamp this piece right about in there. Now, I don't love that, and did you see what happened? When I stamped it off over here, it was off the edges. So let's go ahead and redo that one. Is that cool? But because this is already inked up in Pool Party, let's just start there. So let's start with Pool Party right about in there. Okay, I like that. And so I'm just going to clean that stamp it off a couple times, ink it up really good, and saffron. And then I'm going to come over here. Let me try this one more time. So we're going to take that over there, and then I'm going to come in and add my, actually I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher because I want some birds. So I might need to stamp that again, which is okay. You know, it just adds the two shades, so that's okay. So we're going to ink that back up, stamp it back off, and let's just kind of bring it up a little bit. Perfect. Oh, I like that a lot. Okay, that worked out well. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to set some of these things aside, some of these stamp pads, and I am going to grab my little birds. And again, I have to orientate myself with kind of the direction that they're going. Let's see. That's upside down. There we go. Okay. And let's see. Now they're kind of going straight. I kind of want them to kind of go upwards a little bit. So I'm going to stamp them right about in there. That looks good. Now what you're going to do is you have these little fun, are they called what? Not willows. What are those called? Oh, I can't remember the name of those. But I'm going to stamp them right about in here. And so let's see. I'm just going to stamp it right about in there. And you know, you might need your scrap again so that you can sort of mask off some of this area. You know, just to kind of, if you need to mask it off, you can do that. If not, no big deal. But as you move lower, you're going to go lower on your card, on your deckled rectangle. And so I don't want it to stick out at the bottom of my sentiment. So that's why I want to kind of bring that down. Now we're going to put that aside. And I think we're going to do our one last piece of stamping, which is our sentiment. So let's just go ahead and do that really quickly so that way we can kind of be done with all of that. So Bermuda Bay is what I've chosen. I wanted kind of a brighter stamp color for my happy birthday. So there's my happy birthday, and that is perfect. So now what you're going to need is you're going to need your cutting board. That's right, you're going to need to bring in your cutting board, and I have mine here. And I'm going to bring that up so that you can see that in my screen here. So what I did is you can see here, I have taken my deckled rectangle and I have cut it. So this is cut at 1 1/4 inch. And I just went ahead and cut it all the way across, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I know it's kind of scary when you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, it's such a pretty image. Don't cut it. Oh no, we got to cut it. Let's do it. We got to cut it because that's what we do. We like to have fun, do different things, and you know, just kind of bring our own flair to it. So there's your little puzzle or your card that you're going to put together. So let's do it. Let's put it together. So you need a piece of basic white cardstock. I have my time-worn type that we've already embossed through our cut and emboss machine. Now I actually did this one the entire size of the card front. I did that on purpose. And the reason that I did that is because with this deckled rectangle, I wanted you to kind of be able to see what felt like sand to me, or kind of felt like, you know, it just was fun. I just thought it was really, really fun. So you're going to flip these over and you're going to take your adhesive foam dots and just go straight down on these strips. And so I'm going to go ahead and just stick all of them down, and then we're going to put our card, you know, kind of put the finishing touches on our card. And then I have a fun envelope to show you too. So let's take off our little backings. Now you can take off these backings with your take your pick tool too, but sometimes I don't always, I don't know, I kind of like to have my space tidy, and so I don't always pull out all the tools and use them to my advantage, but you certainly can. All right, so here we go. I need to kind of get my bearings here. So I'm going to have approximately 1/4 of an inch all the way around, right? And so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. And I just want to leave just a little bit of a gap. So let me just make sure I'm in frame here. So you want to leave just a little bit of a gap where you can see that this is clearly kind of 3 panels that have been cut apart. And so this panel then is going to hopefully be about the same distance as the other panel, but you can clearly see that there is separation there. Oh, so fun. Doesn't that look like a beachy? I mean, total beach. And so we're going to, for the guy in our life that likes the beach and likes to be out in nature, we're going to glue happy birthday upside down. No, just kidding. We're going to fix that. Okay. And so then I'm going to add some adhesive right behind here, and I'm going to add this to the front of my card, and I am going to kind of cover up the bottom of those. There we go. Now to kind of finish off this card, I also really enjoyed adding my, gosh, what were those called? The brass. I think I used them on the last 2 cards too. Brushed metallic adhesive backed dots. I really like these a lot. And so I decided, okay, I tried not to. I wanted a little something. So I went ahead and added those to that as well. And so those are with Stampin' Up. Those are one of the products that we currently sell. So if you're interested in those, you can absolutely go to my online store and find them there. Now here is the envelope that I stamped to coordinate with that. And then of course, we have this fantastic heron, and it's wonderful envelope. So which one is your favorite? Which one do you like best? I would love to know which card you like best. It's gonna be hard to pick, I think. They were both pretty awesome. I loved kind of the different elements on each of them. That's what makes it so much fun, is you can just sort of, you know, just have fun with it. Use some scraps, use some scrap DSP, use some scrap strips, and see what you can come up with. It's a lot of fun, promise you that. And just remember, when you're gluing those little strips down, keep those little spider web lines. Otherwise, you might be a little cranky with me if it gets a little, you know, gluey or sticky. But otherwise, just have lots of fun creating these cards and creating these cards for the special guys in your life. Don't be afraid to use those neutral colors. Some of these scenery stamp sets, the birds and the animals, and of course some of the sporting things that we have. So there's a lot of opportunity in the Stampin' Up! Catalog to make those special cards. Now, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to click the like button. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And then of course you'll be notified anytime I share another video. And you have to trust me, I got some more masculine videos coming. I sure do, and I am so excited. Now, if you haven't seen the ones before, you should go back and check them out. We did kind of the adventurous dad, right? So we did that one a couple of weeks ago. And then last week, we had a stamp set called Treasured Kindness. Oh, it was so wonderful. It's probably one of my favorites. So definitely check that out. And I have more coming for you in the coming weeks. So be sure to stay tuned. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, be sure to let me know. Go to BrandysCards.com and click on the contact. Send me an email. I'd love the opportunity to help you earn your business, send you catalogs, answer any questions you have. And of course, if you're one of my current customers, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. I hope that I inspire you, every day to go into your craft room and create something special for those special people in your lives. So thank you for stopping by. Take care. Bye, everybody.